Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and I'm coming to you guys today with my team building video for Week 2 in the second season of the UBC. I am, of course, the coach of the Baltimore Oriolus, and this week our opponent is the Kansas City Kakunas, coached by none other than our good friend Adam, aka TheBeesKnees. Adam and I have played before a couple times, a few times in the league format as well. He has typically gotten the better of us. We had a tough game against him in the Orange League, where I think we were in a position to win, and then he got a nice crit on a Weezing of mine with a Greninja, which put him in a really great position to sweep with a Crocodile. He may have had the match in the bag anyway, but that doesn't mean that we can't take it as an excuse to look for some vengeance in the UBC here with our squad. I'm going to try and make this video relatively quickly. Let me just name off the Pokemon that he has on his team that you can obviously see in the screen right in front of you. He has Tornadus T, Garchomp, Florges, Arcanine, Melodic, Jolteon, Reuniclus, Hitmontop, Drapion, Miltank, and Mega Scizor. So a lot of great threats on his team, both offensively and defensively. And I think one of the strengths of Adam's team is that many of his Pokemon can be run with either defensive sets or offensive sets. You look at something like Tornadus or Garchomp or Mega Scizor, and they all have great stats all around the board. So you could bring, a bulky Assault Vest Tornadus, you can bring Tank Chomp, or you could bring Scarf Chomp, or you could bring Life Orb Tornadus, you could bring Defog Scizor, or you could bring Swords Dance. There's lots of different choices that you have there. He has scary Calm Minesweepers with Reuniclus and Florges. Arcanine can also be either offensive or defensive. I think it's most often thought of as the defensive wall with Intimidate. Melodic is one of the hardest Pokemon to break down in the game. You also have Miltank, which is a really bulky wall that can use Stealth Rocks and Body Slam and Milk Drink and other annoying moves. You've got Jolteon for good speed. You've got Drapion, which can be Swords Dance, it can be Agility, Double Dance, it can use Toxic Spikes. I even think it gets Sucker Punch for priority. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not, I'll certainly look it up before the match takes place. So yeah, that's kind of my impression of his team from looking at it. I think one big difference between his team and Kahuna's team from Week 1 is that he doesn't have a Pokemon necessarily that can wall break without any boosts just right off the bat. Kahuna had two really terrifying Mons, being Darmanitan and Charizard Y, that could do that. And I think I kind of took the wrong approach with trying to counter those threats with defensive Mons. Because he just tore right through those two. It didn't matter at all. So this week we tried to do a little bit more offensive game planning against Adam, and I think you guys can probably see that just from looking at the team. So let's just go ahead and hop into it. First off, we have Nidoking with Toxic Spike, Sludge Wave, Flamethrower, and Thunderbolt. Flamethrower is for Scizor, Thunderbolt is for Melodic, and everything else gets smacked pretty hard by Sludge Wave. Except for Garchomp, I suppose. So I don't have a lot of coverage for Garchomp on this Nidoking. But to be honest, I'm actually expecting Scarf Garchomp anyway, because it's his best answer to Sceptile, I think. So anyway, it's almost irrelevant that we don't have coverage for it. If we're staring down a Garchomp, I don't intend to stay in. But Toxic Spikes is I think, the main thing on this set that deserves attention. It worked really well against us last week when we had our bulky Mon strategy, even though a lot of our Mons were either immune or had Levitate or something like that. It killed Entei really quickly, and I no longer had a Charizard Y counter, and it killed Pangoro pretty quickly, so I no longer had a way to apply a lot of offensive pressure. So if I can even just get up one spike, and I think that's more likely going to be my goal rather than two, I can wear down his team pretty fast, which is going to be to the benefit of my Tomahawk and my Tuscan that you see there on the screen. If I can just wear down his bonds, I'll even have to get them to like 20-30%. If I can get them to just like 50%, 60%, the combination of Tomahawk and Tuscan are going to clean up the game. And I'm really looking forward to using this strategy against Adam, since it worked so well against me last week. We have enough speed on here to outspeed Adamant Arcanine and Adamant Drapion. I'm not sure if Adamant Drapion's a thing, but Adamant Arcanine definitely is, because it could afford to go Adamant, since you have extreme speed, and that can compensate for the fact that you have a little bit less speed investment. So that's Bane, the Nidoking. Next up, we have Benjamin, the Bronzong. It's going to be specially defensive, kind of similar set to last week. Leftovers as the item, and the moves are Stealth Rock, Toxic, Heavy Slam, and Hidden Power Fire. I was thinking between Iron Head, Heavy Slam, and Gyro Ball, but Heavy Slam, I think, just did the best average amount of damage to his team. It didn't always do the most damage to different Pokemon, but for example, it's going to do a lot more to Reuniclus, which can be a threat. We have kind of a funny spread here. We are minus speed nature because we are packing both Heavy Slam and Hidden Power Fire, but I want to be able to outspeed Reuniclus in case we find ourselves in a situation where I need to, it's at 20% and I need to knock it out before it goes full recover. Heavy Slam would be really nice for that. And then obviously rocks are really crucial. They're going to be really pivotal for wearing down Tornadus. And Toxic is also going to be really nice for wearing down Pokemon like Melodic and like Florges. So Toxic is going to be an important move, as it is in a lot of games. So that's all I really have to say about Bronzong. It's a good check to those mons that I named. It's also a good Garchomp check, because obviously we're immune with Earthquake, or immune to Earthquake. We resist Dragon Claw, and Garchomp's Fire Blast isn't going to do a ton of damage, because it's honestly not that strong on the special side without tremendous investment, and we're basically fully specially defensive. I don't intend on staying in and taking 3 or 4 Fire Blasts, of course, but we can take one and land on Toxic if we need, or get up Stealth Rock if we need, and then we can switch into something else. So that'll be a nice thing to use this week. Next up, we have Adam. Our opponent is making an appearance on our team, and we have kind of an odd set this week. We have Choice Scarf with Volt Switch, Hydro Pump, Pain Split, and Trick, but we have kind of a lot of bulk investment. We have 248 HP, 88 Spadef with Calm Nature, and we've got 172 speed. So what 172 speed does is it gets us to 376 after Choice Scarf, so that's enough to outspeed Tornadus. And then we can bring this in on Tornadus, get off a Volt Switch before Tornadus is able to get off a U-turn. So surprise it with a good amount of damage. If it's offensive, we'll probably do like 50-60% with Volt Switch. If he's defensive, we'll probably do like 30-35%. I don't know the exact calcs, but that sounds about right to me. And now that we outspeed it, we can afford to put the rest into bulk. We could have put it into special attack, but what I also anticipate using this Rotom for is tricking a Scarf onto Reuniclus or Florges that are trying to set up Calm Minds. So once we if we do come into a situation where we get rid of our Scarf, I don't think that the special attack investment is as useful. I think the bulk investment is more useful, especially to take on Pokemon like Tornadus and Arcanine, and we don't really take Jolteon on all that well with this, to be honest, but maybe we can take one Thunderbolt, whereas we wouldn't take one before. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun to use this Rotom this week. It's like I said, it's kind of a weird spread, but I have faith. I think Adam is gonna put in a good effort against himself. Sorry, that's really not funny, but it is a little bit. We're gonna go over Tomahawk next, our Mega Sceptile, with Leaf Storm, Dragon Pulse, Hidden Power Fire, and Iron Tail. Naive Nature with enough speed to outspeed Timid Jolteon. Max Special Attack, and then the leftover EVs go into attack to boost our Iron Tail. Iron Tail is a 2-hit KO on Florges. I'm a little weary of using a move with 75% accuracy, but I don't know if the expression was relevant here, but, if you want to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs. I don't know if that really expresses what I'm trying to say right now, but, you gotta risk the biscuit. I don't know. Anyway, Iron Tail's for that. Leaf Storm is for Melodic. Hidden Power Fire is for Scizor. Besides that, nothing wants to take a Dragon Pulse on his team. And, I'm not trying to OHKO from 100% all the Pokemon on his team with Dragon Pulse. I think that would be kind of ridiculous to count on. What I'm really looking to do with Sceptile is come in once the team has been weakened, between Bane and Rotom and Toxic with Benjamin and stuff like that. And I just come in and, hopefully I can get a good sweep, because nothing on his team outspeeds without a Choice Scarf. And that's why I said earlier I think he's going to bring a Scarf Garchomp, because that's a great answer. You can just go for Dragon Claw and kill me one hit easily. I can bring this thing in on stuff like Melodic and threaten it out. I can bring it in on... I don't know, I think I could... I probably threaten Pokemon like Jolteon as well. I can threaten Miltank and fake, I can bluff that Focus Blast on it. There's a lot of Pokemon I can bring this in on early game and force switches and take advantage of that to try and get offensive momentum. But again, my main plan is clean up with Sceptile. Even if he has Scizor left with Bullet Punch, I think we're going to be in a good position, because we can take one if we're at a good amount of HP. So say we're at 80 or 90% HP, we can take one Bullet Punch and kill it with Hidden Power Fire pretty easily. So I'm not worried about that thing being around. It's just really, Miltank, Melodic, Torn, those things need to be weakened sufficiently before I bring in Sceptile for a good sweep. Anyway, up next we have Excadrill, our Tuscan, our Tuscan Raider who loves to be in the sand, and just so happens that this week we are bringing Sand Rush Excadrill. The moves that he has are Sandstorm, Earthquake, Iron Head, and Rock Slide. We have enough speed on this thing to outspeed Scarf Garchomp in the sand. And Life Orb obviously is going to increase our attack while giving us the flexibility to switch moves. Went with max attack Adamant and put the rest into HP, just maybe to, so we can take a hit from Jolteon a little bit better if it has Shadow Ball or something like that. Hopefully he doesn't pack anything like Hidden Power Fighting. I think he's going to bring Hidden Power Ice, because that's his only way of hitting Sceptile otherwise. So if I can come in, like I said, on something like Jolteon, maybe it's like a Choice Lock to Jolteon, or Florgist I can come in on with Excadrill. If he's got 3 or even 4 Pokemon left, I would prefer 3, but if he has 4 Pokemon left and we come in on one of those Mons, we set up a Sandstorm and I think we win. He doesn't have a ground resist on his team other than Tornadus, but Rock Slide kills Tornadus after rocks, even if it's 252 HP. We'll see if he ends up bringing an Assault Vest Torn, or if he ends up bringing something different. But then yes, nothing else takes Earthquake well. Iron Head is easily a KO on Florgis. It does a ton of damage to even Scizor, honestly. It's probably going to do 50-60% to Scizor. So yeah, this is going to be our other sweeper for the late game. And, if we have to use this to punch holes early game, and then we have to save Sceptile for later, that's fine. If we use up Sceptile early, we can use Tuscan, the Excadrill later. But I think that's going to be my plan. Those are my 2 main win conditions for this game. Swords Dance was a consideration on Excadrill, but I just really felt like Rock Slide was going to be important for Tornadus. Iron Head does a great amount as well, but it just doesn't OHKO. And there's a good chance, even if I wear down his team, there's a good chance that he's got a good amount of health on his Tornadus. And I just don't necessarily foresee a situation where I can get both a Sandstorm and a Swords Dance. If I have to choose one or the other, I'm almost always going to choose Sandstorm first. Just because I don't have a ton of speed investment on this. Because he can, if he's a speed invested Arcanine, or he's bringing in Jolteon, or he's a speed invested Garchomp, I can't set up a Swords Dance on any of those things. It really doesn't matter. So I decided to go with the coverage. Swords Dance was a good consideration, but the coverage is more important for me. Last but not least, we have Unaware Clefable, the bane of many people's existence, I know. Calm Mind, Soft Boiled, Moonblast, and Flamethrower. This is going to be the main check to Reuniclus and Florges if they bring Calm Mind. Like I said, I wrote them to trick a Scarf onto it as a backup plan, but this is the more steady plan. I can also use this as a switch into something like Garchomp, but I would like not to if I can help it. Especially if he's not choice locked, because it can learn Poison Jab, I'm pretty sure. So that can do a good amount of damage even though we're fully physically defensive. But anyway, we use Clefable and we set up on those Pokemon, and I think we pretty much win. If he can't weaken us before we get up, 2 or 3 Calm Minds. We can set up on other Pokemon anyway. We could probably, set up on something like Miltank. We can set up on Melodic. Melodic can't do a lot to us because it can't even Dragon Tail us out. If he gets a Scald Burn, that kind of stinks since we're not Magic Guard. But we can, and otherwise it doesn't have any tremendous offensive presence against us. There are some good opportunities to set up with this. So if we can't end up winning with one of our 2 fast sweepers, this will be a sneaky alternate win condition. Maybe not so sneaky. It's not like this is an unpopular set. This is like one of the main sets that people think about when they think of Clefable. But it just means you would expect Excadrill or Tomahawk to clean the game, but Neil's gonna have some potential there as well. So that's the team, guys. We're using a couple of members from last week, but we're using them in slightly different ways, and we're bringing some tremendous offensive pressure with our new Pokemon. And, I'm obviously, there's still some Pokemon that I need to bring to a game, but we have 7 more weeks of the season after this, so I'm going to be able to get Pokemon like Mandibuzz and Quillfish into a game. We'll be able to get Pangoro and Entei back in. Try to remember what else I haven't used yet that I have on my team. But anyway, I know that Adam's a really great opponent, and he has a great history in these counter team leagues. But I feel really good about this match. I feel like I've prepared pretty well. I also want to give a shout out to Miandoge. To be honest, I'm not sure how you pronounce that meme, but he helped me out with this team, and I'll leave a link to his YouTube and stuff in the description. He gave me some good advice for facing off against Adam, and had a tough loss last week. We didn't have a tremendous amount of success in the Orange League. I think we made some, we made a good showing, but we didn't get a lot of wins. So this is gonna be I'm treating this as my breakout game. If I can take this game from Adam, I think we're going to get a lot of momentum behind us, and people are going to start to fear us. And it's going to put us on a path towards the playoffs. So, sorry, Adam. You're unfortunately stop 1 on the Baltimore Oriolus wrecking ball here. And we're going to take this league by storm, starting with this game. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you enjoy the team. And of course, please be sure to check back tomorrow for the battle against Adam, and check back in the future as well for other Pokemon content. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace.